Asa, let's go, Asa.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to 2024. It is back to school, back to work, back to everything. And we are back on the Fundi Talk Student, your podcast for student champions. Today, we are sitting back to back with Bayanda Malevu, who's going to be taking us through strategies surviving your first year as a student. Let's talk to Bayanda and hear what he's got for us. Hello, Bayanda.
Hi, Spi, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I'm well, thank you.
Yes, so tell us about your journey. So you are in matric and you are applying to be in tertiary because you had this vision in mind. I want to be in an institution. What is that institution? How did you apply your process and all that?
Okay, so my name is Bayanda Malevu, originally from Mpumalanga. I came to Joburg because of studies. And so I remember on my first year, when I was doing my first year, I just only applied for a school institution, did not apply for funding, did not apply for a place to stay, because going back to the metric year. So when you're doing your metric, the applications open around June to September. So that is when you're writing your June exams, you're writing your trials, you're submitting. And so there's just a lot. And then you have to apply to different institutions and different fundings. So that alone is an emotional roller coaster. So for me, I had only applied for school. And also you have to pay application fee, So it really plays with a student. So basically when I got to Johannesburg, I just came here because I have a school, but no funding, no place to stay, and all of that. Yeah, so that's where my journey with varsity starts.
How brave is that? So you only applied for an institution and a course and you got admitted, but you didn't have fees, you don't know where you're going to sleep, and you still relocated from Mpumalanga to Joburg. How did you find that transitioning and how did you get about finding fees so that you can pay for your tuition, accommodation, and so forth? This is first year.
First year. So luckily enough, my parents had saved enough to last me for like the first part of my varsity, the first 6 months of varsity. Other than that, I had to then look for fundings during my stay at the institution. I was at UJ, so UJ is we are lucky enough a student at UJ ngoba bayavumela ukuthi sihlale khona e-UJ singabhadalanga and pay at the end of the year. So that's how I navigated through my journey in varsity. And then I had to get funding. I had to, with the place to sleep. I called the day. I'm like, okay, so anginayo indawo yokuhlala, kumele ngithole indawo yokuhlala. So at the very same time, they just said, okay, come to Joburg, right, at school. So we drove from Mpumalanga to Joburg immediately. When I got there, they're like, we are closed. So we had to sleep in the car to come back the following day so that we can go through the process of applying for a place to stay.
And you're a student from matric. Now you are here in Joburg with your family and you don't have a place to sleep except that something has come up and you're sleeping in the car. Your parents, how comfortable were they at the time with that transitioning?
Because I'm my mama's boy, so my mother doesn't want anything. So she was like, okay, until you get a proper place to sleep, I am not going anywhere. So we're going to stay here. So we stayed, and then the following day they had to leave. There are kids back home. You have to go take care of the kids back home. So that's when now the transitioning. I have to know now. Price was your extra savings card. You have to know all of those things. Luckily, there's footy as a student. You have a lot of benefits. There's student discounts and all of that. So, but then transitioning to that, you do not know any of that. You have to go to $8 sales. Go to cheaper. So it was all of that the following day because I have no food. And you have money, so I have to go to a store on your compera and
Hi, Mamela Joanna Ostering. So now you're buying your own food, you are doing groceries by yourself, you are left in Joburg, and you having to come back to your senses that, okay, I left my family behind and now I'm here, mama's boy, by myself. How did you navigate that? Because psychologically, it's something I think for a while it stayed with you, so that you feeling, you remembering your family, your siblings. You mentioned you have siblings. How did you come back to the reality of saying, you know what, I'm not at home. Kimo, Kiwani, and Kikocho back, Josimabone. How did you feel? What happened?
Okay, so it's very important to make friends in varsity, and in making friends, make sure that you make friends that are like you.
Okay.
Varsity is broad. You
Yes.
get people from all different cultures, all different, ways of life.
Yes,
And
yes.
so making people who are maybe at least like you is very important. So with me, we had your first year concert. So we would get as first years together, and then socialize, talk. So with me, that's what helped me to navigate through varsity.
So we've spoken about you having to apply, you are in matric and the applications are open, you discovered the information and eventually you made a choice that I want to be at UJ. And now you are there, you're discovering new friendships and new relationships so that you can have a structure, some sense of support, people that you can lean on. Now, tell me, for someone who is now saying that I'm leaving my family, I'm leaving everything, and the finances are so bad. On top of that, we're struggling with our own demons now and then, and they're not even confident with the course they chose, because it happens that sometimes, you choose a course because there's pressure that you must go to school, you must make a better life for yourself. And then you said, you know what, whatever I find, whatever I'll qualify for, and then you took it. What do you say to that student? And what are you saying to those that are in matric this year, that are sitting there and are thinking, you know what, I just want to be in university, I don't know what to do. What is your word of advice?
Number one, it's your journey. Very important to know that it's your journey, and whatever you're studying, you're doing it for yourself.
Yeah.
A lot of mistakes that we do, when you're in high school,
Yes.
we get pressure because you get good marks. Maybe you should be a doctor, whereas
Yes.
you want to be a teacher.
Yes.
And then now you start applying for something that you do not like, and then you end up in a very big hole because now you can't go out. Most people can't go out. A lot of people want to finish in record time because the people that I started with, are the people that I want to graduate with and
Yes,
stuff.
yes.
So you now changing to another course, you'll feel as if you are left behind.
Yes.
And all of that. So it's very important that you sit by yourself and you understand who you are and what you want to do, and then proceed.
Fast forward. Now, your savings with your parents, the plan they had, now university. What happened the remainder of the semester? Because now you went to varsity, you only had savings to keep you for the first semester, and at least UJ allowed you to stay in res. What happened then? Did you source funding? Where did you source funding?
All right, so now second semester comes, right? So now we don't have money.
Yes.
But during the first semester, of course, I was looking for funding because I knew the time will come. Yeah, and so a lot of my friends during first semester, they were owning the fundi cards.
Yes.
So they were buying groceries with the fundi card, and like it was just all of them. And I was just left
The
alone
loner.
there, the loner. They're like,
Yes.
okay. So I then asked them, like,
Yes.
why? Who gets this card?
Yes, yes.
And they're like, okay, it's NSFAS, go to campus and ask about it. So that's when I went to campus, and then I had to ask about the blue card that everyone has that I don't have.
Okay.
Like, why do I not have it? Like, no, you have to apply through NSFAS and all of that. So that's when I got introduced to the funding, and then that's how I found my funding.
So as bubbly as you are, obviously you have to balance. I mean, Kebopilo, you can't just be living in your books and just, diving yourself deep in your books because you might be depressed. You have friends now. And with you finding those friends, there's common activities that you like doing. Tell us about fun. What kind of fun did you have? How much of fun did you have versus your books? Did you overdo it? What did you do?
It's very important to balance. I know this sounds cliche, but it is what it is. It's very important to balance your study and partying or whatever you're doing. Very, very important, because if one overpowers the other one,
Yes.
something is going to happen and it's not good. Once maybe your books are too much for you, we have a lot of students committing suicide in university because of that. And once you party hard, you're F7, and once you're F7, you're out of the varsity. So it's very important that you have a very good balance. Balance your life, balance your life. So for me, first year, I'm still umuntu ophaphile ke, especially,
Still finding yourself.
First year, a lot of mistakes that we do when you get to varsity, you just want to, now I'm in varsity, my parents are not here, so you just want to be out and about. The freedom is too much, because you can come back at 12, nobody cares. In varsity, nobody cares.
And your pots don't care?
No one cares, you can sleep with isinkwa, nobody cares, you don't have to cook and all of that.
So how did you balance that life? And what kind of activities did you find that, because obviously you have other people, have different interests. How did you balance, not being, and this is a new circle again for you, not being that one, the party pooper. Always when you want to go camping, you have stress. Financially also, we're not the same. Aslingani,
True.
Some of us, we are just there so that we can change the situation of our homes and our communities. Some of us, we are there because, we've seen it and we just want to continue with the legacy and everything else. So how did you balance not being that one that is, not wanting to do things because of financial constraints, because now you have UNESFAS, and UNESFAS is very strict to say, this is your books, this is your allowance, this is that. And then obviously your parents now and then will give you a few cents to balance you and your groceries. How did you manage that?
So number one, know who you are, know where you come from, and know where you are going. You can't be pressuring your parents to buy you ama-kicks worth 3,000 rands, because your friends bakoke one. Ekhayini kwazi wena. We don't know ekhayini tina when we see you go ama-kicks worth 3,000 rands, it's wow, man. Because that's what we know about you. So a lot of things that happen and a lot of pressure, student pressurize their parent. But textbook, it's 10,000. And then abazali kumele manje basafare in getting le 10,000 because uyithengela ama textbook, whereas you just want drip.
You survived your first year. Now you have your results. I'm assuming that we performed and we overperformed. Now that funding and everything else has been sorted out. Your biggest challenges that you faced in your first year, where you found yourself saying, you know what, I think now I'm being depressed. Now I don't know how to navigate this. What was that? What was happening?
It has to be school. It has to be the books, because the work that you have in high school, and when you get to varsity, it's too much. It's too much work. It's deadline after deadline after deadline. So for me, that was kind of too much. And so I remember I even went back home on my test week, just got a sick test. Just want to write because it was too much. Otherwise, I was going to crash. So I went back home, switched off everything for the entire week, just to be with my mother makes me happy. So just to be with my mother. So
Mama's boy.
Yeah, because everything she says to me, it's valid. It's valid. So when I go to her and I tell her, especially face to face, I via phone call now, it's not that strong. But face to face. So for me,
go home.
Hey, and then come back. So I went back home during that week because I almost crashed. It was first test, actually. It was first test. First test. So it was like 80%. I'm like,
what is this?
What's this?
This is not high school.
And it's not high school. And you never prepared for that.
Yes.
You never prepared, because some of the A students, you come back, it's 30% varsity. So for me, I had to go back home. I don't think...
Rethink this thing.
Rethink this whole thing. Do I want to be there?
Am I now a failure?
Is that good? Exactly. Is that good for my mental well-being? So I went back home and then came back to varsity and we did this thing. That's why we're here.
So it's always advisable, from what you are sharing with us, to always lean back to your support, your sense of support, your role models back at home, and obviously doing some of those things that makes you calm, that brings you back to yourself so that you don't find yourself depressed and overwhelmed.
Yeah.
In that moment, did you ever think, you know what, now I'm losing it? And with you losing it, was home only the thing that would help you? Or did you also think about, you know what, maybe I need counseling. I'm assuming that the institution did provide those kind of facilities for you to go, especially for first years, to go and sit with someone and say like, am I crazy? What is going on? Is my life, am I doing the right thing? Is it wrong? Is it right? Because, it's playing in your head and you have to talk to somebody. Obviously, it was your mother. Was your mother the only thing at that time that you could think of, going back home, to the life?
Not even. At GJ, we have PsychEd.
Yeah.
So PsychEd is where they offer like your psychologist and all of that. So that was also my other support system, going to PsychEd, talk about the problems that you have and all of that. And also, for me, sports also plays a huge role in, So that's when I started, joining netball. So I played netball, and because my mother cannot always be there, cannot always be there.
Yeah.
So I know my free time, I go to netball, I go play netball. So it's very important that you find something that works for you as a person, because otherwise you're gonna crash. So find something that works for you, attend the offers from the university, your PsychEd, universities do offer that. So it's very important that you attend. I know some people will say, I don't like opening up. I don't like it.
I can't relate.
Just
it's
try
weird.
it. Yeah.
When you do it the first time, you just feel like, what is going on? Am I talking to myself? Why is this person looking at me like that?
Exactly.
But
Exactly. So those services are there for you. So do make sure that you attend them, and you're gonna be fine.
And how are you keeping, some of these strategies that you've implemented in your first year? Are you still finding them valuable? And how is it working out for you?
Some of the strategies that I used during first year. Time management. That was one thing that I had to learn in first year. Like your books, you have to know that, okay, you're writing 3 times on Friday, you're submitting Thursday, Tuesday, you have this tutorial and stuff like that. So you have to manage your time. So that is one thing that still works for me, like prioritize your work. Okay, so this and this and this, like priorities matter. So start with the one that is due soon and all of that. So for me, time management, that is one thing that works for me. And then not procrastinating. That one is a demon. Your procrastination. She's procrastinating. Stop doing it. It's simple. Don't do it. If you have something to do, just do it. Why are you procrastinating? So that one, you make sure. I know everyone falls for procrastinating.
Oh my God.
So, don't do it. It's simple as that. Just don't procrastinate. Do what you're supposed to do, submit, and continue with life. So for me, procrastination and time management are 2 things that I started in first year, and I'm still running with them now.
So Bayanda, you've gone through your varsity journey, your first year, your second year, I'm assuming your third year, I'm assuming. Where are you academically? How's life in Joburg? Are you still in Joburg? And how are you finding everything now that you've gone through your academics?
Okay, number 1, I'm still in Joburg. Joburg is home.
Okay, your new home?
My new home, my second home.
Yes, second home, yes.
Okay, I was lucky enough. I got an internship at Fundi, so I'm still doing my internship at Fundi. But I'm still based in Joburg, everything. I'm a Joburg guy at heart. And academical-wise, just resting.
Okay, gap year?
Yeah, gap year.
Okay.
But I'm definitely going back to university sometime soon.
Okay, so when you're going back, so you completed your degree, right? Correct? So when you're going back to varsity, it's about your honors and
yeah.
That's correct.
Yeah, it is about my honors. I'm not resting until I'm Dr. Malevu.
Yes, thanks just to that.
So, I have to go back to get my honors, my postgrad. So that's why I'll be going back to varsity.
In closing, if you were to sum up, your journey and everything that you've been through and how you survived it, and tell us how you feel now and where you are, what would you say?
Take it a day at a time. Don't be too hard on yourself. You are here. Congratulations for making it this far. You are good and you are the best at what you do. And so for me to be where I am today, I did not know 4 years back that I'll be where I am today. And for me being here is because I took it a day at a time.
Wow. So what I'm getting from you is that, this is your journey. Know what you want. And when you know what you want, it's easy to navigate around everything else that's coming. As a learner in matric, you don't know much. However, that means there's an opportunity for you to discover certain things. And when you're discovering things, you need to bear in mind your values, what you want, where you come from as a person, and also, always be the person that looks for the information, because information is not going to come to you where you're seated or where you're situated. Yes, disadvantaged as you are, there are opportunities out there. And also what you're sharing is that, don't be too hard on yourself, in a sense that don't force yourself into things that are not meant for you, whether it's a friendship, whether it's a course itself, because you find yourself delaying yourself in terms of your career and all of that. So be true to who you are and what you want, and find the resources, because they're not going to find you. And off you go. Start off, kickstart, because any opportunity, any chance that's not taken is a missed opportunity. And you can only blame yourself, because you have you to answer to. Everything else has to go through you. And lean on other people who, have the best interest same as you are, so that, mentally, your studies and everything else can balance. Have fun, don't have too much fun, but also remember, you are there because you need to get this thing. You need to graduate. You need to walk on the stage. That 5 minutes of fame. Okay, guys, thank you so much. Thank you, Bayanda. This was a very, very delightful conversation we had with you. Rialeboha, Asiba Botle, who, would share that story, humble beginnings. Doesn't mean that you're not going to get anywhere. So keep fighting, Luela, whatever is yours. Guys, keep fighting wherever you are. As a matriculant, today you are a matriculant, tomorrow you're going to be a professional somewhere, and we're looking forward to seeing you as a leader, as you conquer in your career journey, your studies and everything else. Until we meet again with our next podcast, Fundi Talks students. Thank you so much.